Hey everybody, welcome back. We are starting in my kitchen, but we're going to actually end up in the tunnel today. But I'm starting in my kitchen because in this video, I'm going to do a video on how to have an amazing, abundant crop of carrots. I don't know about you, but it took me the longest to get carrots. And so I want to show today my tips and my tricks on what I've done to ensure that I'm going to have a good carrot harvest. But the reason why we're starting in the kitchen is because I want to show you the carrots that I grew last fall. Before I show you that, let me introduce myself. My name is Barbara. I live in Tennessee in Zone 7B. And so today we're actually going to plant our carrots out for our fall and winter crop, our first succession. And so it is now towards mid to late August. So this is a perfect time to start thinking about your fall crop of carrots. I will do several successions of carrots, but I thought I'd take you along with me on this very first succession and tell you the tips and tricks I've had. So before we go out to the tunnel, let me show you my carrots from last season. I want you to look at this, y'all. Do they not look beautiful? Don't they look like I just picked them? These are carrots that I picked in December of 2023. It has been 8 months. They have been in my refrigerator. Since that time, I had 2 bags this size filled up even more. So I'm down to this last bit of carrots. And so I think I'll be okay until I'm able to reap another carrot harvest again. But let me just open the bag. And I did a video. That's how I know the date. I'll pop the video up here, and I talked about how do you store these carrots so they still look like this. So if you're like, how do these carrots still look like this 8 months later? I have a video that tells you exactly what I did. So let me open the bag because seeing is believing. Like, there is, look at that. Do you see how clean that is? How perfect it is? You see that? 8-month-old carrots. Still good, still fresh, as if I just picked them the other day. So definitely watch that video if you want to know how to store carrots and your root crops long term so that they last and look like this. But I'm about to meet you in the tunnel. We're going to plant some carrots, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how I did it. Okay, now we're down in the tunnel, and this bed right here is where we're going to do the first succession of carrots. Now, this bed, as you can see, is mostly empty. It's not completely empty. That's because I have basil in here, and it's still doing good, and I'm not yet ready to take the basil out. I do want to get a few more harvests of the basil, so that's why I am not taking it out, but I'm just going to plant the carrots in here with it. And then once this basil comes out in that section, then I'll plant another succession of carrots. But we can go ahead and get our carrots started, so we'll have carrots sooner rather than later. And then we'll fill up the bed with carrots. And then later on, in a few weeks, I'm going to interplant the carrots with cilantro. So one of the things with the fall is that it's always can be a tricky situation when you have your summer crops in terms of timing, when to turn things over, when to pull things out, especially if you're using the same spaces that you had your summer crops in. So this is the bed that I have most empty. I also would like to do my lettuce and my radishes now, but I don't have another empty bed, and I'm going to give it a couple more weeks before I feel like I'm ready to empty another bed. So we're going to go ahead and start with carrots. That'll be the first fall crop that we are direct seeding. We have already started some of our first succession of seedlings. We did that together. We started seeds. They're in my house now, looking beautiful, looking great, and they'll be transplanted in the next couple of weeks. But this is the first fall crop that we are direct seeding this season. So let's talk a little bit about carrots. So I think I have it in my pocket. This is the kind that I'm going to be planting today. It is from Johnny's. I think you can only get it from Johnny's, but it's Bolero, and it's the pelleted kind, not the regular kind. So let's talk a little bit about how I have found success when it comes to carrots. Y'all, I struggled with carrots like up until last year, maybe like the year before that. The year before that, I'm like, okay, I think I got it. I did it again last year, so I think I have it now. You guys saw my amazing carrot harvest. But here are some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. First, decide on where you're going to put your carrot. It needs to be in fertile soil. Fertile soft, supple soil. I've never grown carrots in the ground, but if you are going to do it in the ground, just make sure that you compost it well and that it is loose, that it's not hard and it's not firm. They got to have some space to bulb or root up, so to speak. Carrot is a root crop, so it is a great crop to grow in the fall and winter. The colder it gets, the sweeter the carrot is going to be. And some people even overwinter their carrots in the ground. Like, it's so cold, it's frost outside, snow, whatever. They'll just keep their carrots in the ground and do what I call overwintering them. And they won't even harvest all their carrots at one time. They'll just go out there and pick what they need for like dinner or anything like that. So when it comes to carrots, make sure, I always do mine in a raised bed. So just make sure the soil is loose and fertile. Here is the number one thing that most people, including me, at first do. They said that they can't get their carrot seeds to germinate. Now, I have drip in this bed, but one thing that is really important when you do your carrot seeds is to overhead water until they germinate. Even if you have drip, they have to remain moist and you have to overhead water. That's another reason why I'm doing it today, is because I'm going to be in town for the next 7 days. So my goal and hope is that I can get them to germinate. And usually they germinate around day 7. I'm hoping that they will germinate before I leave, because I did not want to do it and then be gone for 6 or 7 days and have to depend on somebody else to overhead water, even though it's on drip. The drip will not be enough for them to germinate. So the success I found is that once I put them in the ground, I overhead water every single day. I keep the seeds moist until I see germination. Once I see germination throughout the row, then I will let drip irrigation take over, and I no longer have to overhead water. So that is definitely tip number 1. The second thing that I hear is I can't get my carrots to get any size. They don't bulb up. They're too tiny. They're too small. I had the same issue, right? And so if you are using a traditional carrot, meaning a non-pelleted seed, carrot seeds are very, very tiny. I don't even have any out here because I ordered the Bolero and got the wrong thing. They sent me non-pelleted, but that's what I ordered. I ordered the wrong thing. They didn't send me the wrong thing. And I'm like, I'm not even using those. Like, I'm done with the whole carrot seed. Now, I shouldn't say I'm done. I did do some last year, and I will sprinkle some in here and there, but the majority of my crop will be this variety right here, which is Bolero, and it'll be pelleted because that's where I found the most success. The ones that I just showed you are the Bolero, okay? But if you're going to do a traditional carrot seed, you're not doing pelleted, you're not doing Bolero, so you're doing Scarlet Nantes, you're doing Chardonnay, you're doing fingerling carrots. What are some other ones? The not Donker, Danvers carrot, like all of those kind, rainbow carrots, like whatever those are. If you're doing those carrots, they are very tiny. So when you direct seed, you're almost gonna, like, we call it broadcast sowing. You're just like taking your hand and sprinkling it in the row. Why? Because it's hard to pick up just one seed and do the carrot seed. So when you're doing those kind, you have to broadcast sow. Here is where the issue comes in. When you broadcast sow and you have germination, you're going to have germination all together, all throughout your row. It's going to be just on top of each other. You have to go back and thin those out if you want to have carrots of any size, because otherwise, if you don't thin them out, your carrots are going to be very tiny, like pencil thin. They're not going to be thick and have a good diameter if you don't thin them out, okay? So when I say thin them out, when they get to about, I would say 12 to 15 inches tall, you want to go through and basically where all the carrots are lined up together, you want to go through and cut at the root level or pinch at the root level so that there is at least 2 inches of space in between each carrot, right? So you're pulling out, and you can take those tops and make carrot top pesto. You can eat them as greens on your salad, or you can compost them, whatever is your fancy, right? But you want to thin them out. If you wait too long to thin them out, like they're, 5 inches, or, real tall, and then you try to thin them out, it's not as effective because they've already started to bulb up. So think about it like this. They need like some elbow room. You know how when you're at a table for dinner and they're trying to pack everybody in, it's a table for 6. but they put 8 people at the table and you're like, man, back up. I need some elbow room. It's the same thing. Same concept. All your carrots are all together like that. If you don't go back and thin them out, they're like, I can't grow. I need some elbow room. So you have to give them some elbow room so that they can grow. So that is mistake number 2 that I see. Is if you're going to do a variety that is non-pelleted, right, you're going to broadcast sow, but you have to go back in and thin them out at the appropriate time. Once you thin them out, you want about 2 inches in between each carrot, right? That way it'll have room to bulb up and grow. And then look at your maturity date on your carrot packet, right? Give them time to grow. So if it says 90 days, then give it the 90 days. And usually the carrot will start poking through the top of the dirt. You'll be able to see the carrot poke through, and you should be able to see the diameter of the carrot to know whether it's big or small and to know if it's ready. Now go out there and test one. You're like, okay, it's not ready, eat that one and then let the other ones, percolate a little bit longer. But those are my tips when it comes to carrots. So last year I did pelleted for the first time and loved it. Let me show you what a pelleted seed looks like and why it's different. Because with pelleted seeds, I don't have to go through and thin out, right? So this is what it looks like. This is an inorganic coating on the carrot seeds that makes it easy for me to pick up one seed at a time. So when you see me direct sowing these in my row, I can place the seed 2 inches apart because it's not so tiny to where I can't pick up a seed. I can pick up each and every seed. I will do them 2 inches apart. So therefore, I don't have to go back and thin. I like that a lot better. For me, it works out much, much better. I like the variety. It grows well. It tastes well. So I don't feel like I'm missing anything. But if you want all the rainbow colors and all that, maybe this is not for you, this variety. But everything else I said is going to work just the same, right? Making sure you have loose soil, making sure that you overhead water until you see germination, and then also making sure that you go back and you thin those out. And then number 4, making sure that you let the carrot mature and know the days to maturity, and you give it a chance. Like you're not pulling it at 45 days and it's a 90-day variety, right? Those are all the things that's going to help you have an abundant carrot harvest. Now, I'm like you. I love color and I like trying new things. So I will, probably later in the season plant, some rainbow carrots or something like that, like just for color and just for variety, but it won't be my main thing. This is my main thing. As you can see, this is what has held me through all fall, winter, and summer. We're about to go into September and I still have carrots from last season. And I only did 1 bed last year. I'm going to do even more this year or more succession. So those are all the tips and the tricks on how to have an amazing carrot harvest. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually wet my soil first, and then I'm gonna dig trenches and rows and place my carrot seed in there, cover it up, and then wet it again. I'll show it to you, but I wanted to kind of get through this part so that you can focus in on what I'm saying. Take notes if you need to, so that I'm not trying to tell you what I'm actually planting. So let me water the bed, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, so the one thing that I forgot to talk about or mention at this step is you want to make sure, especially if you're going from summer to fall crops, you want to make sure that you amend your soil and add an extra layer of compost. So I amended my soil and added in a fertilizer that's a 5-10-4. I'll show you what it is. And I did not add compost just because I cannot get to, I need to go pick up some compost. I do have some that we used last week when we were trying to fill up the bed, but in order for me I can't get to that right now. So, and I need to plant today. So I'm doing things a little bit out of order. I will go back in and add compost and mulch, but it's fine that I'll do it once they start germinating and they, you know, get some size, I will add compost to the bed, probably when I do the second succession. So that way I can just do the whole bed at the same time. But today I did go ahead and add in a fertilizer. Let me show you what I'm using. This is from M.I. Gardner. I love this product. It's Trifecta Plus. It's a 5-10-4. So quick lesson. NPK. So this is nitrogen, phosphorus, and then potassium. So it has a high phosphorus content, which you need phosphorus for root development. So it's not only great overall, but it's going to be especially great for our carrots, which are root veggies, going to help those roots to develop. This is, like I said, a product you can get off M.I. Gardner's website. I typically use this in the fall. There's nothing special about fall. It's just, that's usually what I do. I usually buy this and use this to amend my beds in the fall. And then in the summer, I use, you know, worm castings and other things more related to the soil test. But this is just an all around good general fertilizer. So this is something that I just bought and I had it on hand, so it's a good thing for me to add. It has a lot of great stuff in it. It has bone meal, green sand, potash, kelp meal, blood meal, feather meal, cottonseed meal, lime, what else, alfalfa meal, rock phosphate, azomite. It has tons and tons of great stuff in it. This bag is 6 pounds, and I don't remember how much I paid for it. I don't remember, so don't get me the line. But just go on M.I. Gardner website and then you can get it. I need to become an affiliate for M.I. Gardner so I can give y'all a code. I don't have a code, but if you got one from one of your other homesteaders, use that. Okay. So I've wet the bed. This sprayer is like supercharged. So I was playing around with it to see if I could make it lighter. We had to switch sprayers. I got my other sprayer out there where I planted those potatoes last week. And so my husband switched out the sprayers. This one is one that we just had lying around. I don't see a control to make it lighter. So that's why I really wet it to begin with, so that it is moist. And then we'll see at the end how we can make it a little bit less forceful so it doesn't disturb and move my seeds all around. But I'm going to go ahead and dig my trenches and just start planting. And I'll just time lapse this part. You'll see, and I'll come back when it's done. Okay, y'all, it is done. So I did 2 rows. I had to be creative with the watering. I kind of just like lifted it way up so it almost like cascade and not be directly on it and move the seeds. So hopefully that worked until I can get me my other sprayer in here and switch it out. So we got 2 rows. I'll keep the basil in there. Once the basil comes out, we'll be able to put 2 more rows in. So this whole bed will be with carrots, and then we will probably interplant cilantro, which is what I did last season, and it worked out really well. Or we may do the cilantro somewhere else. But on my crop plan right now, the cilantro is going in this bed with the carrots. But I'm glad that we got our first crop that we direct seeded for fall in the ground, and hopefully it will germinate over the next 7 days. I will keep you guys posted and keep you updated on the progress. If you're like me, I struggle with carrots, but carrots is one of the things that I like. I want to have for a salad. There's so many different things you can do with carrots. I can juice them and all that, so I was determined to get it. I got it. And so now I'm sharing it with you. All of these tips help you. Put your questions down below. If there's another tip or trick that you have that's help you grow successful carrots in your garden, please put it down below. Share with the group. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. Please subscribe. Also, I have one other announcement that I wanted to make. Starting in September, I'm going to be doing a beginner gardening series on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to go through, I'm working through the series right now. I'm coming up with an outline, but it's going to be videos for a beginner gardener, like meaning it's your first, like you have no clue what to do. I'm going to be doing videos. I will do probably a video a week, and I will probably air that video on Fridays. So therefore, if you're already a seasoned gardener and you're like, hey, I don't need that, feel free. You know what I mean? Certainly I would love for you to watch or share it with somebody, but it's going to be something that I'll be able to have as a repository on my channel. So that way, if it's a brand new gardener, they can start with that series first, and then they can also, you know, get into the fray with all of my other videos. But that way it'll be Like, I'm going to break things down like very crystal clear and go from like just the beginning, like how do you even get started? And because I know that that's what I was looking for when I started my channel and I couldn't find it. I'm not saying it's not out there. I'm just telling you, I couldn't find it in the way that I needed to learn from my learning style, which is hold me by the hand, starting at step 1, don't start at step 6. So I just wanted to let you know that. So if you see me doing content and you see that and you're like, why is she talking about how to even start? And she's well past that. That is the reason why I'm going to be doing a series. And that way it will have its own separate playlist and people can use that as a repository. And it'll be a great avenue to point somebody to if they're just beginning. I'm doing it now in the fall because things tend to start slowing down in terms of content wise. We won't have as much going on in the garden. So my plan is to start it in September. I don't know how many videos it'll be yet, but just letting you know. If you think that's a good idea, let me know. If there's something that you specifically, you're like, look, I've been gardening, but girl, I still need it. Put down below what you would like to see, and I will be happy to shoot some content around it. But thank you guys for joining me today and meet me in the kitchen and in the garden. I hope that this helps you yield a very abundant carrot season this fall and winter. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.